And that's where I discovered this is called electronic music. That what is electronic music? Then I did more Google, and I just kept on making, and at one point I just felt that I'll just do this for the rest of my life. So I just started making music, and then I started getting bored of my style. Lazaran Sadhana Mukra. It's been growing in statistics even before Taambdi Chaambdi. Many people have told me that their parents allow to go to late night parties if it's my party. Because if once I leave the world, okay, I leave the world by giving out a hope that this can be done with Marathi music.
Krunal, welcome to the US
Thank you, thanks a lot.
and welcome to California.
Yes.
I believe this is your first visit.
Yeah, first visit to the US, in fact. And being in tech, I knew about like Silicon Valley and all that stuff. And finally, I'm now here doing an interview. It's kind of unreal, but yeah, it's really nice to see how the whole space over here.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we call it as Kokan of America.
Yeah, is it?
कारण आपण म्हणत होतो की आपण कोकणाचं कॅलिफोर्निया करूया.
Oh.
ते तर कधी होईल माहित नाही, पण आम्ही कॅलिफोर्नियाचं कोकण तर नक्कीच केलेलं आहे. Well, I hope ki you take some inspirations from here and kind of create something out of it. So looking forward to that.
Yes.
So let's. I want to kind of ask you. How did you get started? Right. Let's talk a little bit about. When we were chatting over lunch, I heard that you have done your engineering. You're a computer engineer.
Yes.
There are many here who are computer engineer, and then you got into music production.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about where it all began.
So tech मध्ये because computer engineering was a thing and everyone just wanted to become a computer engineer, and I wanted to do computer engineering for a different reason. That was because of my love for games. I wanted to develop games. I wanted to make and design games. That was my thing. So I knew that learning computer engineering is the pathway towards doing that. But while I was playing more games and exploring more games, so माझा interest जास्त गेला music कडे, because games is a combination of a lot of things. It's development, it's the entertainment side, which is the music of it, the art of it. So I got inclined towards the art and music side of the games while I was doing that. And in my engineering time, I was more interested into art, so I deviated into UI UX designing. Because that time I felt ki okay, I can use my engineering skills plus my artistic skills to work out in this field. And I worked in that field for 5 to 6 years. And meanwhile, I was making music. It wasn't ki I then shifted my focus towards music or something. I used to make music in my office. Like I used to take my laptop to the office, and all my bosses, touch wood, were so supportive towards what I do. They were like, okay, you do your music. And considering my family also, they were always supportive towards whatever I do. Because I knew that I had a responsibility of taking this family, so I did my job as well as I did my music.
Amazing, amazing. It's just so fascinating to hear your. So tell me a little bit about what steered you into DJing.
So actually music, this whole passion and all thing happened once I discovered DJ. Music wasn't a thing for me. It was just a thing that I used to listen to music, that's it. But in my college, there was this freshers party in my engineering college where I saw a DJ console for the first time in my life. And I was like, what is this? And how is this guy playing music through this? Because for me, the idea of music was someone standing with a guitar, someone playing keys. I thought that this is music. And what is this guy doing? And I explored some different types of songs, and those songs were called electronic music. And the sounds which I used to hear in those songs were completely different than a standard piano or a guitar or something like that. So I dug more on Google, and I landed on the search like saying this is electronic music. Like you can make entire song from your computer. Like you can produce the entire song. And that's what struck me ki okay, I can make music on a computer. Like that was very fascinating for me. And then I found out about artists like David Guetta and Hardwell, Skrillex, and these people, and they were like, they're doing live performances by making music on a computer. And I started making music just for fun. It's not like I wanted to make the biggest hit track, nothing. I was just fascinated of how you can just layer stuff and make a song, like how in design also it works. You layer stuff, then you complete a digital design. That's how digital design works. Then I thought this is very similar. I'm just layering stuff on top of it and then creating something very creative, which is mine. I can own this song. It wasn't sounding as good at that time, but I just felt that achievement of making a song. And I just kept on making, and at one point I just felt that I'll just do this for the rest of my life. This is something I'm loving it. I feel a different person when I'm doing it. It's same to design, but I don't know. There's some different feeling comes in when I start making music. I forget the world around me and I just keep on making it, and that's where I just decided to like keep on doing it.
Uh, let's talk a little bit about your US tour, right? Your
Yes.
very first US tour.
Yes.
Uh, so even before you reached here, your music had already reached here,
Yeah.
right? And it had reached millions of people here in the US. Uh, this is your first US tour. How has it been so far?
So one of the most uh, like unforgettable experience from a fan was there were there was a couple, and they came to me and they said our kid heard Taambdi Chaambdi, and I was like, yeah, everyone's kids here. But they said that the first word the kid said was Taambdi Chaambdi.
Wow.
Like it wasn't even mom, dad, nothing. And that's where it made me a bit emotional that the kid, if he, like, let's think about 20 years later from now. 20 years later, the parents would be saying that kid that the first word you said was this guy's song. And that was like, my song has become someone's memory. It's gone beyond music and all that. So that was very emotional for me to hear this kind of reaction.
I can only imagine. You're a designer, I'm a designer. So I really want to understand. So, first of all, I want to understand what has been that one defining moment in your career so far. I know you're just getting started.
I think so, but yeah, in my mind, the whole Marathi thing which I started was the whole shift which actually shaped what I am creatively. कारण की त्याच्या आधी I used to make a lot of house music and electronic music. I made lots of stuff, like lots of tracks. Some of tracks also got signed on some labels, got a pretty good traction, but didn't so nothing big happened out of them. And I think so in COVID, something drastically changed. Like I in COVID, I picked house music as my genre because just before COVID, I went to Amsterdam for a solo trip. तिकडे एक ADE करून कॉन्फरन्स असतो Amsterdam डान्स इव्हेंट. तिथे मी फर्स्ट टाइम गेलेलो लाईफमध्ये ॲज अ सोलो ट्रिप आणि मी परत एकदा गेलो दोनदा गेलेलो. And that's where I went there to learn about what electronic music is actually, like what exactly is happening in that space. And there I learned a lot about house music, the subgenre of electronic music. And I learned that house music is actually the initiator of electronic music genres. Everything evolved after house music. Then I heard a lot of house music. And in COVID, everything just became silent because I was thrown out of my job because of the whole COVID thing, and I had nothing to do, and the world also had nothing to do. So I was just sitting and I was like, how could I make maximum use of this time right now? Because right now, if I make music, no one is going to give me work. I have no work right now. I have to make music. If I make music, no one is there to judge me. So I just started making one track every day for 2 months.
Such a liberating thought.
Yeah.
In those under those circumstances.
Yeah, because I was like, this is nothing to lose situation.
Right.
Like, what happens if I fail?
True.
Anyways, after this whole pandemic, I'll just do my job again if I fail. And if if something good happens, then it's good.
So you really looked at pandemic as a big creative opportunity.
Yes.
You almost got that, gave yourself that creative permission
Yeah.
to explore.
Yeah. I know it was bad for a lot of people,
That is true.
but I was like, nothing's bad right now. Okay, I am thrown out of my job. So what? It's just a job. I can get another job. But if I don't use this time for my music, I'm not going to get this time again where it's so much free. I have 24 hours in my hand. So I just started making music, and then I started getting bored of my style which I was making before. And I started to add Indian elements into it.
Interesting.
So I think so for every artist there needs to be this time where they're just making a lot of stuff and they're just rinsing out all the boring stuff out of them. So that once it's gone, you start making yourself. Because now you're bored of whatever you did before.
That is such an interesting thought.
Yeah.
You need, as a designers, as
Yeah.
creative people, you need
Even
to
in designing, it's the
flush
same.
out your old
Even the
everything that you want
biggest 3D artist, Beeple, he, you know Beeple, right? The one who sold the
course.
NFT.
Yeah.
He makes a artwork every single day.
Wow.
That's what makes his next artwork so special. So I was like, let's make one track every day. And then slowly, this Indian thing started to come inside it. And then my new house style started to develop. This was a house music which was not sounding like other house tracks, but still was a house track. And then I started releasing that. And then at one point, cut this long story short, one point I hit a spot where I picked Marathi samples. I picked Marathi songs. I picked it. And that's where I realized this is what I was missing. This was in me from my childhood. I never looked at it. I was trying to be someone else. I was trying to be a Westerner. I was trying to make a Western. I was trying to build a persona of myself who's a Western person. No, I am not. Okay, I am influenced by Western things. But what's inside me has to come out. I have been listening to Marathi music since my birth. Since I have been listening to Marathi music even before learning a language.
True.
So why just use that? That's me. So I was like, okay, and I started doing that, and just started posting it on Instagram. And that's what also one thing I realized, that you need to put out your music. No one's going to listen to it if you just make it and keep it in your hard drive.
That is true.
Just put it out somewhere. Let the people see. There are many professional people whom I send this music to. They are like, okay, this is okay, this sounds good, and all that. I didn't get good reactions out of that. But when I just gave it out, just placed it in front of people, people were the ones who actually liked it. And then now I'm doing a show in US.
Amazing.
I think so. These two things, which is one is just grind yourself, just exhaust yourself making music, and second, just put it out. This is my creative process.
Perfect. Very well said. Very well said. Perfect. I want to go back to what you said about that spark, that Marathi thing, when you realize that you need to look within instead of trying to be someone else. Right? And you picked up Marathi. All of us, Marathi mulga, tu Marathi mulga, Mumbaikar, त्यातून. We all have been grown up. आपल्या घरामध्ये रेडिओ पासून टीव्ही पासून म्युझिक असतंच. गणपतीमध्ये म्हण, नवरात्रीमध्ये म्हण, वी आर तुम्हाला आवडत नसेल तर तुमच्या कानावरती म्युझिक आदळतच असतं, राईट? Marathi music has got such a deep cultural significance, right? How do you honor that heritage in your music?
I think so. It's so big that I am a very small person to honor it. This is what I think. Because if I think towards what should I do to honor it, or what should I do, I should just keep making music and just not make something which is coming in between that track. That's all I can do. But I think so that music in itself is so big, where I stand as a very small person. What I can do as a new person is innovate and try to reach out this music to those people who might not have access to Marathi music at all, or might not find it cool. But I make something and then they might find it cool, and then try to enter this field. Like many people, when there's a track of mine, there's a remix, Lazaran Sazara Mukta. It's been growing in statistics even before Taambdi Chaambdi. People love it. The people who are listening to it on in the clubs haven't even heard the original.
Wow.
They don't know. They weren't born. Even I wasn't born when the original Lazaran Sazara Mukta was.
Right? A lot of what you play is from 60s and 70s.
Yeah,
Right?
I
Probably from 50s.
yeah I play that music because my dad used to listen to these tracks.
So true.
And I only knew these tracks because of my dad. He used to just play cassettes and he used to sing. Otherwise, how would I have known Rajaran Sazara Mukda? It's such a old track. It's such a good track.
I know.
So I think so. What I can do is I can honor the beauty by just evolving it.
On a lighter note, right? A lot of the creative geniuses and creative people have this moment in a day. You know, I was taking a shower and this idea came to my head. Do you have those kind of moments where you have taking a shower, or you're traveling in local, taking a virar fast, or you're traveling in an auto rickshaw and saying, and you say, aha, okay, I'm going to take a note of it and I'm going to work on it.
Yeah, this happens a lot with me, and mostly this happens while I wake up in the morning. Something comes into my head, or whenever I'm asleep and I wake up, ideas come to me. And whenever I'm traveling or I'm walking, so I've made the process easier by I just do record my voice note. And there are certain AI techniques where you can actually turn a humming melody into a playable melody.
Love it.
It just converts into it converts it into MIDI information, and then I use that MIDI directly in my project. So this is and I just make it. Sometimes the inspiration is not even worth. They don't even finish up into a song. But I think so. It's just necessary to rinse it out of the brain, because if it gets stuck inside the brain, it will just it will just come in front of a good idea.
Interesting. So I have to ask this question, right? Especially when I attended your show in Mumbai recently. Uh, I was looking at the crowd. I was looking at the lot of Marathi youth in that, right? So how do you feel that your music represents the evolving identity of Marathi youth?
Yeah, I think so. But I think so. It's rather than just Marathi. I think so. It's a new Indian sound, what you can say, because for a lot of time, urban Indian music was Punjabi music, and no one said that it's modern Punjabi music. It was modern Indian sound, and I think so. Marathi can be the next modern Indian sound out there, because of a lot of things. Because one thing is because my sound worked.
Right.
I didn't strategically do things for things to happen like that. I just made music, just put it out. If it is working, then definitely the other Marathi artists will look at Marathi music like this, then they can evolve in a very good direction. And the second thing is, I don't know, might be a stupid analysis of mine. I think so Marathi and Spanish sounds the very same.
Interesting.
It sounds same. I'm not saying that the language is same. I think it sounds same. And Spanish music is doing huge right now.
True.
So this is just my LHS equals to RHS thing.
Amazing.
Which I think, because if a similar sounding language is doing so well, then why not this? This language sounds the same, and music is about sounds.
It's about sound.
It's not about the language. Yeah, many people say it's the language, but it's the sounds which are making it travel the world. So I think so. There is a huge scope of Marathi being the face of Indian music.
Well said. And I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yes.
And I think your work is definitely in that direction.
Yes.
So, since you talked about global music and talked about Spanish and how music doesn't have any language barriers, right? Doesn't have even country barriers or boundaries as such, right? If you could collaborate with any artist, past or present, who would that be?
Okay. One thing is David Guetta for sure.
Okay.
And second is Ajay Atul.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just want to work with them. I don't know. It's okay even if my name is not over there. I just want to work with them somehow or the other. These are the two people I want to work with.
Anyone from the past?
From the past, I think Ram Kadam.
Interesting.
The compositions I've heard of Ram Kadam are out of this world. It's very underrated, actually. I think it's very difficult to call him he, but his works were beyond the time. It were timeless. If you hear any Ram Kadam composition right now, it will just transfer you to somewhere else. So unfortunately I cannot work with him, but yeah, he's one of them.
But you are taking his music, you are keeping his music live.
Yes.
Right, and it's fun to see my 19-year-old daughter right, dancing and grooming and vibing to the lavnis that we grew up listening to, right, watching on a black and white television and all of that. So it's just fascinating to
many people have told me that their parents allow to go to late night parties if it's my party, because if there's good music playing over there, you go there.
Amazing. Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. What kind of mark you want to leave with your music? I know it's too early to even think about or talk about legacy, but I'm just thinking.
I think there are certain things which I am struggling from, as Kratex is struggling for right now, is explaining people that this is possible. That yes, I can play Marathi music on the biggest music stages of the world, but because I haven't done that, it's difficult for me to explain. So I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that and make it possible for the rest of the world. Because once if someone does that, then it starts looking possible. So I think so just giving out that hope to the world can only be enabled by an achievement by someone. And that is the kind of achievement I want. Because if once I leave the world, okay, I leave the world by giving out a hope that this can be done with Marathi music. You don't need to change the language or do something just because you want to reach there.
Well, very well said. Yes. And with that, we will conclude this chat. Yes. And again, pleasure, amazing to have you. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the show tonight.
So your second time, right?
This is my second show, right? So we are super excited. The Valley is excited. I know a lot of people have reached out to me and Harshad, and you will. I'm sure you will enjoy the crowd tonight as well. All right, thank you, and all the best for the rest of your tour in the US. Taambdi Chaambdi